Welcome everyone. I hope you enjoyed that quick tour. And what I did with that walk was to show you that I crossed from one London borough to another. And if you weren't paying attention, you probably did not realize it. So in this episode, we're talking about how do you know London boroughs? Well, first of all, it's hard to tell when you cross from one to the other. But on my leisure walk I just did, I crossed from the London borough of Hammersmith and Fulham. I am now in the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. And the way I discovered this boundary was I just had a conversation with actually one of the leaders of one of the church in this area, and he just kind of mentioned it to me because I said to him when I'm on a visit, I noticed there was something different walking to the church. And he goes, yeah, well, you crossed over a boundary. Okay, I'm going to walk back again to see if you notice if there's a boundary. If you did not, I will point it out to you in just a few minutes. So let's walk back and see if you notice when I cross from Kensington and Chelsea to Hammersmith and Fulham. Okay, I am now in another borough. So I've crossed the line. I'm now in Hammersmith and Fulham. So let me show you where the boundary is. As you can see, there is no sign here. So after a bit of research and talking with a gentleman, I know exactly where the boundary is. Let me show it to you. The boundary is right about here, and I'll show you. And that is this set of railroad tracks. And there's a clue. There's an overground train going to Clapham Junction. So if you look on to the right is the borough of Fulham and Hammersmith, or Hammersmith and Fulham, and on the left is the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. So here you would have to know this is actual boundary between the two boroughs, and most people don't know that unless you're into just knowing these boundaries. Okay, here we are at Leicester Square. This is a place that everyone that comes to London, whether as a visitor or a Londoner or from out of London, somehow everybody gathers here. And we're going to take a quick walk to see if we notice when we actually cross into another borough. So this is Leicester Square Underground Station. We're walking towards, we're walking towards Covent Garden. Okay, did you notice any sign that we actually just crossed from the London Borough of Westminister to the London Borough of Camden? Let us take a walk back and see if we notice any sign that knows the difference between the two boroughs. I did not notice anything, but if you look up the street here, the road, you notice on the left is Westminster and on the right is Camden. So the roadway is the boundary between the boroughs. Okay, here's a neat little trick I found out. Okay, so I'm standing in Camden looking at Westminster. This is part of the Soho Western area. And again, this is Leicester Square Station on the Underground for Piccadilly and Northern Line. So I'm going to go in on the Camden side of the Underground, and then I'm going to come out on the Westminster side of the Underground. I don't know where the boundary line is in the Underground station, but I think I just crossed it. And there I was across the street where I started. So I just went through the Underground station and across the road from Camden to Westminster. Now at this location, I am taking a gentle stroll and I just crossed from one borough to another, and in case you missed it, I will go back again. Okay, I'm walking back from where I just came from, and I stopped. I'm right at the boundary. I just crossed over. If you didn't notice, I'll show you how I knew. There's actually a sign here that lets you know I'm crossing over from Royal Borough of Kingston Upon Thames into Merton, the London Borough of Merton, and we have a building that traverses the boundary, so I wonder how the taxation goes when it comes to how much they pay. Okay, let's go on to our next location.
When you said it, I was like the river.
Okay, here again at the final location. I'm walking from one borough to another. Let me see if you recognize the change. Okay, there was a sign that told me that I switched from one borough to another. Okay, here I am in the London Borough of Richmond Upon Thames, and I just crossed over from the Royal Borough of Kingston Upon Thames. So here that separates the two boroughs is known as the Thames River. So as you can see in this video series, that we across two boroughs where you did not notice there's a boundary change, and here the last two we crossed over and there was actually a sign, but you actually have to pay attention to notice the sign that you crossed over boroughs. Thank you for watching today's video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel.